You need to be comfortable doing bad by yourself because that means that you can do good by yourself. What do I mean? Why am I talking in these riddles? What's going on? What is the main character saying? Doing bad by yourself is not as bad as it may seem. Okay? When I was going through my transformation, there was a point where I felt just so isolated from the world, like completely isolated. I was going through things. I had the world on my shoulders, bills mounting. I felt like I could crumble at any moment. And it was at that moment I said, you know what? Yeah, it might suck that I feel alone right now, but all that means, and this is so superficial, but you diamonds know my heart. But like I said, I was thinking, it might suck that I feel so alone right now, but all this means that when it comes time for Christmas, I just have a bunch of gifts under the tree for me. And that translates to, if you're going through something, one, make sure if you're doing bad that one, you remember that so you don't ever do bad again like that, because doing bad it's not something that we ever want to circle back to. But also remember who you were and everything that it took to get where you need to be. And this isn't a, oh, well, I'm never gonna open my heart up. I'm never gonna be friends with anyone. I'm not speaking of prolonged isolation. I'm not speaking of that. But if you're going through a bad point in your life, one, I want you to listen to the newest short I just uploaded just to give you some encouragement. But two, I want you to realize that going through a bad time in your life will a lot of times be parallel to a moment or a season of isolation. And there's a reason for that. It's typically after a season of isolation that you will have your greatest accomplishments, your greatest sense of achievement, your greatest like proof of achievement. It's because, you were essentially, it's like you were you versus you, like me versus me mentality. I was telling someone when I was making really bad decisions in my life, I had the influence, and this was younger, right? So I guess you can blame it on my frontal lobe not being developed or just being a teen or whatever. But when I was making really dumb decisions, it was because I was around people who were also making dumb and stupid decisions. I was a part of the group, and I wasn't jumping off of the bridge with them, but I was there on the bridge. Why was I on the bridge? I should have been at home working on a business or something. I should have started it way sooner. But anyways, we're not talking about this to say, look back and say, well, I should have did this, I should have did that. No, I'm saying this because doing bad by yourself is one of the biggest indicators that you are going to do good by yourself. Does that make sense? Because think about it this way. If you go through a difficult season, you go through a difficult time, and you're able to step outside and say, how am I going to do this? You're putting all of the accountability on yourself. When you're able to do that, you essentially are able to take credit for all of the success you had, because you can literally say, no, I went through the mud by myself. If you find someone in the trenches and you guys get out together, yes, that's good. There were times when I was on the come up where I met a business partner this way, or I met a connection this way. Yes. However, I started on the path by myself. There's nothing wrong with that. But I will say this, okay? If you're doing bad with somebody else, baby, leave them alone. Leave them alone. Because if you're going to do bad, might as well be alone doing it. Okay. Whew. If you are a diamond and you are struggling and you are in a relationship, you need to leave that relationship. Okay? Unless you both have a plan on how to exit that struggle, you need to exit that struggle alone. I see too many times, oh my goodness, I'm about to go on a rant right now. I was just on a deep dive on TikTok last night. What is the channel name? The Resilient something? It's about the family living in the hotel. And mind you, I don't know, I don't know all of the details of it. It was up. I was, I was waiting for something to be delivered. So I just was up, just scrolling. And I'm like, what is going on? And I'm reading the comments and it's like, oh, this didn't happen until they got together and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, there's another baby. There's this baby. I'm just bewildered, completely bewildered with this. And I'm thinking like, baby girl, just do bad by yourself. If you're going to be living in a hotel with your kids, just do that by yourself. Like, I don't know about you. Listen, she is not getting wet if the pockets are dry. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. If I'm struggling, ain't no way I'm not doing a 3-point stance. I'm not doing that. If I got to do bad, I'm going to do it by myself. Like, I don't want you mean to tell me I got to live in a hotel? I don't want you looking at me. Don't talk to me. I don't want you to, don't call me beautiful. I don't got time for that. I don't got time for that. Diamonds, please don't allow yourself to get wrapped up in that type of struggle love situation. Please don't. Don't ever do that. And I don't say this to look down on anyone's situation. If you are living in a hotel, there definitely are resources within your city. Like, I think you can call what's that number? Like 211. You can go to your local church and see if they have resources. I'm pretty sure there's like a human resource for every city. I'm pretty sure of that. But anyways, I don't want to look down on you if you're currently dealing with houselessness is what they call it. If you're dealing with that type of struggle, I'm not looking down on you. And if you're a couple that's going through that, I'm not looking down on you either. But what I'm saying is, don't stay there. That's the whole point of this. Do not stay there. There's always a way up and there's always a way out. Okay? And typically, if my demographic is typically women on this channel, and it's, I think it's my target, or not my target. My biggest demographic are women in the U.S., and they are, I believe, 18 to 44. That's my biggest age group. So the women in that age group, I say this with love, if you are struggling, one, connect with a resource that can help you get out of that struggle. But two, make sure you're not prioritizing anything other than getting out of that struggle. A relationship should be the furthest thing from your mind. A boo thing, a sneaky link, all that should be the furthest thing from your mind. Because if you're doing bad, you should be do bad alone, right? Get out of that sense of struggle and stress and poverty alone. And a lot of times what will happen when you're starting to work on yourself, you'll find people along the way, and, you might find like a good friend group or even a relationship, right? However, don't prioritize anything other than getting yourself out of there first. I just talked about this in one of my recent videos. When you are searching for something to fill a place in your life, you're opening yourself up and you're becoming susceptible to predators in that area. And there's more than just one type of predator. Like, there are people who will prey on a young woman, a beautiful woman, a single mom. Like, you just have to be careful and understand that it's okay to not be okay completely, but it's not okay to just be there and do nothing about it. I'm never going to advocate for that. I don't agree with that. If you are in that situation, I want you to do better. I'm telling you to do better. Why are you here watching these videos and not doing better? There's so many different, I have the free glow up guide where you can get that right now if you don't have your money together. There's a free Discord community if you need some help and encouragement. Like, there are so many different ways and groups and resources to help you do better. Understand and know that struggle, stress, or poverty, lack of provision is not something that it's not something that you should be accepting and being complacent in. Don't ever do that. And a lot of times when you are not truly where you want to be, it almost feels where it's too heavy to get there. So you almost give up and you just kind of do whatever it takes to just get by. And that's never something I'm going to advocate for. Never to just get by. We hear a lot of times about the story, like the one that got away, and how that's so sad. And yes, it is, right? But what I think is even more sad is the story of the woman who could have been successful, who could have been healthy, who could have been a CEO, who could have been a business startup, who could have been this, who could have been that, but never got there. And sometimes it was the cause of someone else's actions, but sometimes it was the cause of her own. Please don't ever be the woman who could have been. Don't ever be the woman who could have been. Don't do that to yourself, because what will happen, I'm telling you, you will look back at your life, you will become bitter, resentful, angry, and hateful. And that's where the jealous auntie comes in. That's where the jealous older woman comes in. And she sees a woman who's young and youthful and vibrant and so full of life and so full of hope and potential. And she gets angry and she gets mad and she starts to hate her because that's who she used to be at one point. But she didn't do anything. So she's forever the one who could have been. Don't be that woman. Don't let that happen to you. I love you, Diamonds, and I'll talk to you soon.